when I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, this one, I actually wondered how did people feel with losing their characters, and that answers my question. Just a reminder, I stream on twitch.tv/Pathra from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. EST on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Also, feel free to join our friendly Discord community, discord.gg/Pathra. We're gonna watch this together.
Square is buried deep into the culture of Japan. Originally a spin-off from Masafumi Miyamoto's father's Powerline construction firm, for over 30 years its games have helped power the rise of Japanese games development. There are no shortage of games that live under the Square Enix banner, but none as big as Final Fantasy. We knew this was a story worth telling, not only for those who were there to see it all go down, but for the millions of you who have never heard about it. Who never
Wait, that's what it looks like. Wait, I want to see it.
But for the millions of you who have never heard about this, who never knew the extraordinary lengths the development team went to save this game.
Part 1, 1.0.
Hello and welcome to Shinjuku, Tokyo, home of Godzilla, restaurants full of dancing robots, and Square Enix, one of the most prolific video game companies in the world.
But the story of this game starts 8 years earlier with the launch of Final Fantasy XI, Square's first MMO, the early days of online. Many of the team who worked on 14 started on 11.
Its very first MMORPG on the console, PlayStation 2. And also, I mean, it was the first ever cross-platform MMO between PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360. The obvious one is
this is FF11.
Most Japanese people don't very like to chat in public.
Right.
So, I mean, in the world, there's a lot of characters.
That's still,
but it's very quiet.
That's still today. A lot of people don't want to speak in public. The run is still similar. Yeah, it didn't look as pretty. Oh gosh, it looks so... What year did this come out? It looks much better now, but I was wondering what year. 2010? Oh, it looked laggy too.
Like I mentioned before, again, localization being in a position where we get to see all the parts come together first. We were some of the first to realize that, you know, Houston, we have a problem. That type of situation. I mean, you know, you had the battle team. They're like, yes, we have this great battle system, you know, with stamina and these things that you can do. And then you had the story team. That, yes, we have this story. Oh, hey, we have these guild leads and all of these parts. And everyone was really, really proud of their parts.
So that was the beta launch. Did they actually release it and then close it? Or it was just the beta that they launched and then they closed it? That's so sad. Imagine like working on a game and it just like fails.
Let's get right down to it. Unless you've got the patience of Job or some kind of masochist, you shouldn't play Final Fantasy XIV. Its problems are so vast that I could spend hours talking about them. The awful interface, the recycled content, the stringent limits on questing, the useless maps, the stupid market ward, these issues and dozens more constantly have you asking that age-old question, what were they thinking?
Fuck.
And then to have people online just say, oh, that sucks, this person is a piece of shit, or their work is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts, but it hurts more because
that's the life of devs.
Was not here and was a user and had played that game, I probably
they always have people saying their shit. But they just want to make people happy.
Today, Square Enix is based across multiple floors in a modern office complex in Shinjuku, Tokyo. It's a company that is often designing multiple projects at once.
Oh,
and while Final Fantasy XIV was being developed, in another part of the building, a different game was being made.
That's smart! I played on that! My dad brought this home when I was very, very, very young. Yoshi-P was already working for Square Enix, but on a different game. Wasn't it Dragon Quest or something? So they moved him. I mean, I think he did well in the other game that he did. And so they moved him to this one. And then he just told everyone, like, once he became like the new lead, he told everyone that worked in the Final Fantasy area, like Final Fantasy XIV area, like, if you don't like my work, then you can leave. If you don't feel like you want to do this, like, start again and leave.
Like most Japanese players at the time, Yoshida-san played all the early Final Fantasy games. He holds them in high regard.
Wow, there was a Final Fantasy in the family computer? I never played it. I was way too young to even play a game like that though.
A new type of gaming experience arrived at home.
What game is this? That's funny. I can't read it. So because of all of their games in the past being so good, they got too prideful and they just weren't looking at other games and references and being trapped in this mindset of like, we're good already. You're streamers, you gotta watch other streamers, see what they're doing and adapt. That goes with any job really. It's so crazy. It looked like Final Fantasy 14 but just worse. Huge respect for them for scraping FF14 1.0 and improving it. Yeah, they could have just given up, you know, and been like, but I think that's really good that they were like, we're not just gonna make, from being like such a, like Square Enix had a good history of games and then it's like, they don't want to cut it there with like a really shit one. Oh my god, that's when you were creating a character? It looks so bad. Oh, that's FF11. I thought it was FF14. That was very old looking.
やらなきゃいけないことが当時3つあると思ってて、まあ順番にやってったんですけど、まずそのチームにまあオリジナルのチームに。
So they were basically like, help us fix the game.
まず say hello っていうところから。で、一度もみんな仕事したことがないから、どんな仕事をする人間なのかを見てくれればいいよってまず。で、あ、こいつダメだと思ったらチーム抜けて構わないからっていう話を最初にして一緒に仕事してみようでも1回はいいよねって。
If you don't like my work, leave now.
もう1回
During this meeting, he explained that Plan A would be to patch the game and make it more playable, but that ultimately the game would never really satisfy players, and though Square Enix may make their money back, the damage to the online brand would be catastrophic. And then there was Plan B.
今のファイナルファンタジー当時のオリジナルのファイナルファンタジー14をパッチを当てて全く新しいそのファイナルファンタジー14をもう一度作り直すっていうのがプラン B.
If they left it as is, it would have been like horrible reputation forever. Now this way, everyone's still like FF14 has a good name again now.
In our next episode, we focus on that 2-year period and tell the incredible story of the falling moon of Dalamud, the death of 1.0, and the birth of a new Eorzea.
Look at all those monsters. That's the end. I thought there was more. I was like, I thought we were gonna see them work on it. Oh, that's a good story. Crazy. Crazy. Wait, there's another episode? Ah.
ミニマムで終わる時間とマックスかかってもこれだけだろうっていう時間を両方申告させてその平均値で基本的にはスケジュールを管理するっていう本当にミニマムをこう短い時間で申告するけど結局タスクが終わってみるとマックスに寄りがちだなってなった場合は 50% で見積もるんじゃなくてもうその係数をかけて吉田はマックス側によるからきっと次の週のスプリントはもうちょっとマックス側によるだろうみたいなのをどんどんこうで個人特性までそうやって管理してたのでそのデスクトゥデスクでフェイストゥフェイスでやることもあると思うので1日の稼働は6時間で計算してましたねその時は全員6時間8時間では見ない。
That seems hardcore.
大体慣れてきたらそれを
That's a lot of time management.
変えて最後に言っときますけどこのマイクロマネージメント普通じゃないのでおすすめしないですよ。まあ2年弱で MMORPG を作る。
Less than 2 years.
2年。
This guy is legendary. Oh, loyal fan base.
コミュニティだったかもしれないけど、いやファイナルファンタジーのことを応援してくれている人たちだったので、この人たちを無視するんだとそれは何億円使おうが回収できない後でコストだと思うので。
Yeah, it really sounds like Yoshi-P cares. Like he cares for the game, he cares for Square Enix, he cares for the people who still played the original like Final Fantasy 14, 1.0. If he didn't care about the community that were playing the OG FF14, he wouldn't have done those patches for them. Like, he wanted to try and make the game still enjoyable for what they had while making the new game.
会社にもプレゼンテーションしましたし、僕もそう思ってたから、まあ続けましたけど。
Yeah, we're watching. So we watched part 1 already. This is part 2, and it's like what happened to the OG FF14. It was bad. Everyone was like, it sounded like everyone was like working on different departments and different design things, and like when they put it all together, it just didn't look good as a whole. And then they changed some people that worked for them, and Yoshi P entered, and he was like, we gotta make a new game in 2 years time, and he just like micromanaged everything. So that's why I was like, damn, this guy's legendary for like doing that. Anyway, going back.
なんて言うんだろうな、最低限遊べるように。正直
Even says it was awful.
僕最初にやっぱりオリジナルの14触った時にインターフェースがあまりにも
There's so much little things in game design. I find game design so interesting. There's so many little things that we just don't know that goes behind games. Like, for example, when they made Super Mario Bros, like your character actually starts in the bottom, like where my camera is, right here where my camera is. Mario is actually standing right here, and then you run along, and like it gives you that whole sense of knowing that you have to run that way. Oh wait, sorry. To me, it's like that way. This way. Along the screen when you place the character here. Like little things like that. If you place the character in the center of the screen, here, if your character starts here in the game, it gives you like this feel of you can go left and right. Stuff like that. So yeah, starting character here, and then you like little things, like when you play it and you step back, like if you're here and you try to go back here, you notice like there's like you instantly know, oh, it's a dead end. I can't even go that way. So you only have one direction to go. Like little things like that. I was just like, that's so neat. Oh my god, this looks terrible. I'm sure this is not the entire screen because you should see their names, but damn, I don't know. That looks messy as f.
But right as they were settling into this new reality and finding their rhythm, disaster struck. For 6 minutes, Japan shook. A 9.0 earthquake had struck 200 miles northeast of Tokyo, and a resulting tsunami devastated coastal regions. What followed was a humanitarian and infrastructural disaster that can be barely comprehended. While the country rallied to help those affected, Tokyo suffered aftershocks and frequent electrical blackouts. I asked Shida-san if he'd like to share how this had affected the team.
まあ東京もそうは言ってもすごい揺れたので、まあ当日はね、会社に泊まった方が安全だって言って。帰らないでずっとニュースを見てるっていう人たちもいたし、やっぱり東北に
Okay, so their office was a little far from it.
親戚とかいるスタッフも当然いたので、まあもう正直言うともう開発どころではなかったのは確かにそうですね。で、開発なんか優先すべきじゃないと思うので、やっぱりみんな開発者の前に人なので。
Yeah, I mean, people are going to be sad. It's hard to work after that.
サーバーを一定期間止めますっていう話をして。
Oh, so no one could play for a while.
まあゲームを作り続けるのが結局何よりなのかもっていう、こういう話はしなかったですけど、みんなそういう感じで復帰してきてましたよ、仕事に。
Damn, there's a lot of sadness behind it. Wow.
We got to try a lot of things. We had a lot of freedom, then especially on the 1.x stuff, because in a sense, it would only be released, seen for a few months, and then it would be gone forever. And so, on one hand, that's really exciting, because we can do whatever we want.
As an incentive for players to keep playing while the fees were introduced, they announced Legacy Campaign, which rewarded players who paid for at least 3 months of service with permanently reduced monthly fees. Those players would also get an exclusive Chocobo mount, while as a thank you for their support during the redevelopment, their names would be featured in the credits of the new game.
You know what's good about that? It feels like they really made it up to people. I feel like if there was... I don't really see that in games much, right? Like, if they fucked up, like, you just, like, lost your money or something. Maybe you get your money back, but that's it. Sounds like they did a lot to make sure people felt happy for FF14.
Right before download hit Elzer, we had to do some chaotic situation to the existing world. So what we decided to do is to spawn the strong enemies at the near the main cities. In very late night, when I was doing, keep spawning the monsters, the one programmer just, I've never talked to him before, but just coming down to my desk and then just give me a bit of paper with some numbers, which numbers I can understand. This is the number of the certain monster.
Okay.
I can type in so that, I can spawn a very new, stronger monsters. Right. Oh, thank you very much. It's the program. So that was a very fun moment.
You were like playing God.
At first, I felt like God. Hey, players, can you beat my monsters? But no. I was very weak God.
They were God.
Yeah, they were God.
So it was then, on Sunday, November 11th, 2012, just over a year after Final Fantasy XIV was originally launched, with Dalamud hanging in the sky, that the servers were finally turned off. And as they did, a trailer dropped, showing players what was to become of their old home.
Done! Here's the thing. Man, it could have been bad, but like, I think that Yoshi P did a good job. Like, if it was someone else, you know, they could have still messed it up. Like, it could have been better, but still not as good. But yeah, it's cool because that answers my question. Okay, the whole reason why I watched it was because when I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, this one, I actually wondered how did people feel with losing their characters, and that answers my question because that was the loyal fan base that was still playing, and they knew they had trust. They had trust in the new game, and they knew that there was a new one coming. They were like open about it, so that was good. Now I know.